welcome back, Cowboys Nation. We've got the full crew together today. We've got Burke, Spanky, and Stu, aka Bennett, David, and Clayton, here to talk about the game that we've all been waiting for: the Dallas Cowboys and the Philadelphia Eagles, America's Game of the Week on Fox. I know that we're looking forward to it, and we are going to have a lot of things to talk about today. But first and foremost, welcome Stu back to the pod. And welcome back, and welcome to the Club of Champions. How's it feel?
Feels good. Been waiting for this since I was a newborn. Been watching all 162 games for my entire life. But Burke, for me, it feels really good because me and you are now actual champions, and have been waiting around for a long time, like Spanky has with the New York Yankees.
Right. So follow-up question to that. Obviously you guys won the World Series. You're probably super stoked to be a Rangers fan. So I was borrowing your MLB TV this year, and then towards the end of the season, when the Rangers got on a losing streak, it was rage canceled. Is probably the best way I can describe that. What are your thoughts on canceling MLB TV, not wanting to watch the Rangers anymore?
Well, your point is that I live in Dallas. You live in Dallas. MLB TV, you can't watch the Rangers on. Your hometown, you can't watch it on. There was no point in me wanting to keep the subscription. Didn't care about the games. I only cared about the Rangers. So instead, me and my roommates, we bought Bally Sports instead and pitched for the Rangers on Bally Sports. So you can.
Okay. Fair enough. Okay, got it. I just got wrecked there. I forgot about the blackout restriction
You did.
because I don't
get murked, Burke.
Yeah. All right. Well, that backfired. But anyways, yeah. Congrats on winning the World Series.
Feels good.
And just
also, before y'all finish, Burke, I know you're a huge baseball fan. Did y'all see the whole Corey Seager video today when he was talking the microphone to the whole the announcements today, the parade?
Please tell me he didn't put pressure on the Cowboys.
No, he was talking about please, Rangers never win. I guess we'll never know. The whole Alex Bregman thing after they won the division. He did the champagne
thing originally.
Yep. And then Bregman said, I guess we'll never know. And so Seager did it to fuck with Bregman, and I fucking loved it.
Good.
I hate that fuck Alex.
I don't like Bregman either. Never have. He's a cocky little SOB.
That's amazing.
Yeah. Okay. Well, again, congratulations. We're happy to have you back here. And shifting over to the game here, boys, we've got a lot to talk about today. Obviously, this is the game. We said this about the 49ers game, and that's all fun and games and in the past, and we're still trying not to think about that, obviously. But this is the game. Cowboys, Eagles, America's Game of the Week in Philly. I mean, we all know what this rivalry is. I think around the horn we all share that. I know for me personally, the Eagles are my least favorite team in sports, and it's not really close. Like, I hate Philadelphia sports, but the Eagles, for me, it takes the cake. I don't know about y'all.
For sure. And Philly sports fans, for that matter, take the cake for me.
It sucks for me because I hate the Astros, obviously, but I'm a huge Trey Turner and Bryce Harper fan.
Me too.
And them going to Philadelphia absolutely sucks because their fans are the absolute worst scumbags, going to hell, down to earth, or pieces of shit people of all time. They're the worst.
Yeah. I mean, think about how I feel. They were on my Nats, and I have to watch us play against them 20 plus times a year. So it's not fun. I feel your pain, but just to kick things off here. So I know, obviously, this is a big week. And to be quite honest with you, it's been a really busy week for me at work, so I haven't really gotten a chance to scope injury reports or things of that nature. Spanky, have you looked at it at all?
Yeah. So Bradley Roby and Cam Jurgens being their starting right guard, are officially ruled out. And Tyron Smith went through a mock game today, and all signs are pointing to him playing. So pretty positive on our end, pretty negative on their end. Unfortunately, Jalen Carter dinged up his back last week, but he's been a full participant. So I think we'll finally get to see some Jalen Carter versus Tyler Smith. So it should be a very fun matchup. I bet we see a bunch of all 22 film come out about that battle right there.
Yeah.
But yeah, that's all it on the injury front. I know a lot of us have seen some news clippings and media bait of potential Cowboys and Eagles slander back and forth. Shout out Jerry Jones for just an impeccable quote. Burke, I'll let you say the quote out loud because I don't want that pressure.
Oh, okay. That was it's a little off script there. I didn't have that pulled up in front of me. It's
Give you a sloppy pod.
basically what? Something about not wanting to poke the bear?
No, something about the Super Bowl and what the Super Bowl means to him.
Oh, that quote. Okay. Yeah, let me who could forget? Let me where was that one at? Okay, I see it now. Just taking a sec to load up here. The fact that I'm looking at a PFF graphic is insane. So Jerry Jones said today on 105.3. Okay, composure.
So bad.
Jerry Jones was asked today on 105.3 The Fan. He was asked what it's like to win a title, and this is a real quote, by the way. He said, and I'll try to say it in my Jerry voice. It's the absolute glory hole.
I don't know who has a worse job, Biden's PR team or Jerry Jones's PR team.
They're neck and neck.
They are neck and neck.
You got to get the mics away from them. Like that's like a tackle the president scenario where you're just like you see a reporter asking a question, you're like, no.
Yeah.
I blame Jerry's PR team for letting him go on 105.3 The Fan every single week. It just seems like so the big games come on, he just says the most outlandish shit.
Although, I mean, obviously talking about a glory hole is nuts. I mean, I'm not going to sit here and try to defend that one, but I will give him credit. And pretty much everyone on the Cowboys, except for Dak didn't really say anything like outrageous, but the whole poke the bear narrative, Jerry Jones told the media last week, and he's been saying throughout the week that he doesn't want to talk much about this week's game because he doesn't want to poke the bear for once. Actually, like a really awesome way of thinking about things by Jerry Jones. And DeMarcus Lawrence and some other guys have kind of echoed the same thing, being like, hey, we all know what this week is. I do like that they're not talking about it and putting this game on a pedestal like they did the Niners game when they were like, oh, yeah, like we know what this game is. Like everyone knows what this game is. Like they're not doing that this week. And I do appreciate that a lot. However, I did love from Dak this week. He didn't know that Jerry Jones said that, and he said about poking the bear, he said, pour honey on me. If I'm ever in a fight with the bear, pour honey on me, which is I don't know where the quote like originally came from, but I know LeBron said the same thing in the playoffs last year, and the Lakers went all the way to the Western Conference Finals. Like I think he said this like maybe during or after the Memphis series, if I'm not mistaken. So, but that's irrelevant to this. But I do love that it seems.
You're a huge LeBron fan. Ugh.
Yeah. Anyways, it's not important. But anyways, let's get to my point here, and I want to hear what y'all have to say after this. But I guess just to kick things off before we really dive into the game here, what do you guys think of the team? It seems like trying to not necessarily minimize it, but not really trying to make a bigger deal out of this game than just a week 8 or 9, whatever week we're in, regular season game.
Okay, well, I like how we're not overly emotional with the media, but I hope it's different behind closed doors, if that makes sense.
I think it is.
Because I've heard this term being thrown around a lot, especially regarding this Cowboy Eagles game. This is our midterm exam. and
Mm.
we need to pass it because we didn't pass the previous exam 1 for our first semester against the 49ers. We did not pass that, and we were a little too emotional with that. We play scared, and this is a team where I'm emotional just thinking about how much I fucking hate Nick Sirianni. So I want to see us go out there and win. And I hope to God it's different behind closed doors. But I do like how on paper and through the media we seem less emotionally invested.
I agree with you, Spank. My whole thing is about the Eagles. One division rival, probably the most hated rivalry in all of sports, with up there with the Yankees Red Sox, most hated rivalry. They don't need to talk about it out loud, like to do it. In my opinion, like to do with the Niners. Like the Niners, everyone knows about the history, but that's not a huge rivalry. They don't play each other every single year, twice a year. This is a team that you play every year, twice a year. The fans hate each other. The players hate each other. Um, but they also have a mutual respect for each other, in my opinion. I guarantee you, Micah and Jason Kelsey and Lane Johnson have a huge mutual respect for each other.
Oh, they do.
But they are going to go absolute balls to the wall for this game. And I'm so excited to watch it because you're going to see so much trash talk this game. So, on your point, Spanky, they're not talking about it because they don't need to talk about it. This game already is a huge magnitude game for both teams, in my opinion, which I think is a fact.
Yeah. Yeah. I really like that term. I hadn't heard that one yet, the midterm exam. That's a really, really good way to frame this game. And obviously when they went in to their first test against San Francisco and it looked like they didn't study for it, they failed the shit out of it. So hopefully with, second exam midterm coming around, I mean, it's a familiar foe. It's a team that we should theoretically know pretty well. But the one thing that I am actually interested in is it's kind of weird. And I'm sure y'all already knew this, but this is going to be the first head to head matchup between Jalen Hurts and Dak Prescott, which is pretty nuts. Like
I
their
think this is
first
the
time.
second.
No, it's their first. Or no,
You know
second.
what happened in 2020 or 2021?
41-21, we beat them. Trayvon
That's
Diggs
right.
mouthed off to Jalen Hurts
Okay.
after a pick
Okay.
six.
Sorry. Forget I just said that. I meant Jalen Hurts still has not beaten Dak Prescott. Yeah, granted, it's only one matchup, but this is the fact that this is what Jalen's third year as a starter now, and this is, year 8 for Dak, and they've played one time against each other. Because last year it was
It'd
Dak
be 4
or it
times.
was Rush
Yeah.
against Hurts, and then it was Minshew against Dak last
Yeah.
year. So yeah, I do remember that Eagles game because Diggs destroyed Devontae Smith. Yeah, that was a fun game. Yeah, it was Monday
Yeah.
night.
Yeah. But
Yeah.
kicking us off, let's go to offense. We got a little sidetracked with our intro. But this is a game where I feel like the Eagles, and I want to pick my word. Eagles don't fucking listen to the podcast. They are a completely different team than what they were last year. And I've been watching and listening and just like even watching games, and they haven't really had a convincing win, barring that Miami game where Miami low key just shit the bed in all facets of the game. But this is a defense where they have some holes. Their linebacking core, like primarily inside linebacking core, it's like Zach Cunningham and Nakobe Dean. Eagles fans will hype up Nakobe Dean, but he's just a Walmart version of what we have as an undrafted free agent, Marquise Bell. Their cornerback room, we've seen our wide receivers beat them before. And more importantly, yes, their defensive line is good, but I have tremendous faith in Tyler Smith. I have tremendous faith in Zach Martin. I have tremendous faith in Tyron Smith. So I want to pinpoint two crucial matchups on the offensive line being Tyler Biotish. Got that one right.
Wow.
First try.
There you
Yeah,
go.
yeah. And Terrence Steele. Those are two of the guys that really need to step up. Terrence Steele is going to be matched up on Hassan Reddick. and Biotish is going to be helping out with either Jordan Davis or Jalen Carter or Fletcher Cox. And so those guys being able to win their matchups, whether it's in pass pro or run blocking, it's going to be absolutely crucial for the Dallas Cowboys. But I'd be lying to say if like I just didn't feel the tingle to say it's just going to be like a CeeDee Lamb Dak game. Dak's 8-3 against the Eagles all time in his career. Granted, one of them was only head to head against Jalen Hurts, whatever you want to say, but he's 8-3. He knows the Eagles. He knows how much this game means to the fans. And judging after last week, if I didn't see a great offensive performance, I'd be scared. But this is a different Eagles team, and like I'd be lying to you if I said I wasn't pretty confident going into this. There is some pullback on my confidence, but I'm very confident in our offense. I'm very confident in Mike McCarthy calling a good game plan. But I really want to see Tyler Biotish and Terrence Steele step up against. I think Hassan Reddick even got DPOY votes last year. So
Yeah, I did. I'm pretty sure.
yeah,
Smicky, I agree with you. I like the Biotish and Steele pull. My thing is again going to be Biotish, Tyler Smith, and Zach Martin again, which I said last week as well against Aaron Donald. You're facing a Fletcher Cox, who Hall of Famer, and then a Jordan Davis and Jalen Carter. Like those are the guys rotating up the middle. Those are some big boys, and they're strong. They're going to get some push. How do they handle the push? I think that comes into our screen game very well. I think Pollard with the Eagles' front four aggressiveness, we can do some screen game very well, and their linebackers aren't great. I don't trust. If I was an Eagles fan, I would not trust Nakobe Dean. Zach Cunningham, I don't think I like him. If as a Cowboys fan, I hate him, but as a linebacker, I think he's a good linebacker. They're very aggressive. A screen game is going to come big into this game, in my opinion, if you want to drive down the field. You're not going to be able to just make big plays after big plays after big plays. And I don't think you'll be able to run the ball very well. The screen game is going to be very big. I think Pollard has 5+ catches this game for 75+ yards. So like he could have like 8 catches for 75+ yards, a bunch of dink and dunks up the middle, and go against their linebackers, who I think are the biggest weakness in their defense.
I like that, Stu. And not to cut Burke off, but along with screen games, play action passing is going to be pretty crucial, which means we need to establish the run.
Establish a run.
Just establish the goddamn run for once this season. I would love to see Pollard break one loose. I would love.
And also on top of that, the run game, I would love to see a little fake. Dak acts like he's dropping back, and then little slip handoff to Pollard. Those D tackles come up the middle, and Pollard runs right by him. I think that's a really good play that they should put in this game, in the game plan, because I do think they're very aggressive, and that's a way that we can get our 2 guards up the middle, Fletcher Cox back with Biotish, and Pollard runs right by him. I think this could be a big game for Pollard. Not to look ahead for our boys of the week, or the fuck we call them. I already forgot. But yeah, kills the week. I think Pollard's gonna have a huge game this week, rushing and receiving.
Yeah. Y'all both made some really great points. So to me, this game, and I think both teams know this on both sides of the ball, whether it's our offense or our defense, and their offense or their defense, this game on both sides is going to be won or lost in the trenches. And it sounds super cliche, but it's the truth. Like, I'm looking at the Eagles depth chart right now, and what makes, obviously they just made the splash deal for Byard. You've got Big Play Slay. You've got James Bradbury. You've got Keely Ringo, Eli Ricks, some younger guys. Like, just hear me out here. But they've got some good players in their secondary. Obviously, that pass rush was fucking mean. I mean, Brandon Graham, Jordan Davis, Fletcher Cox, Jalen Carter, Josh Sweat, Hassan Reddick. I mean, and Nolan Smith even. Like, that's no joke. Like, the Eagles can rotate. The guys are going to be fresh. They're going to be amped up for this game, and I hope that we match them because we know what the Eagles are going to be doing. It's going to be Philly. It's going to be packed. They're probably going to have Meek Mill leading them out, ripping fucking dreams and nightmares. Like, it's going to be an
Forgot about that.
I know. It's going to be an electric environment in Philadelphia. I mean, point blank, period. It's going to be the place to be on Sunday. I mean, I know there's Bills and Bengals on Sunday Night Football, but this is the place to be on Sunday for the NFL, and the entire nation is going to be watching this game. I don't know if y'all saw the map of like the viewership this week for the late game slate, but literally the entire country except for Las Vegas and parts of New York will be showing. Well, the feature game is going to be Cowboys and Eagles, and Vegas is because of the Raiders, and then New York is because of the Giants. So I feel bad for
Yeah,
those markets.
this has a chance to be like blowout ratings, like
Yeah,
out of the
I think
water.
I
I
think
think
there's a
it's good.
chance that this is probably the most viewed game of the season,
Yeah,
outside
Will
of
and
like
be.
maybe Thanksgiving. Like I think we play Washington on Thanksgiving. Could be wrong, but
yeah,
outside of Thanksgiving, I think that this is probably going to be the most watched game. And so my point with that is that the whole nation is going to be watching this game. Other teams are going to be watching this game. They're going to be watching to see how our offensive line handles that defensive line because everyone knows how good this Eagles defense is. And while they haven't performed great yet this year. Like they've been very spotty, and I think it goes for their whole team. Their offense has been inconsistent at best. Jalen Hurts hasn't been playing at that MVP caliber level that he was last year, but they're still a very, very good unit. And it's not something to take lightly. And I do fully agree that I really think that whether it's in the passing or the run game, I think this is going to have to be a game that we get something going in the trenches, that we get, Pollard loose on at least a couple carries. We have to wear them down on the interior and just make their D line, all those edge rushers, we have to make them tired. And that's going to start with the run game. And Pollard did say this week, he said he's feeling his first big game coming soon. He said, I don't remember what the exact quote was, but he did say like that it's coming real soon. To me, that hopefully says that the Cowboys have a plan to get him involved early. We saw it last week when, we knew CD was going to be involved early. We all called it, and said it was going to be a big game for him. And so I would like to see that with Tony Pollard this week. But worst case, if we're unable to get the run game going, it's Dak Prescott against the NFC East, and I'm riding with Ford till the wheels fall off, just as I know the rest of the team is. And especially the way that Dak has looked the last two games, single-handedly winning us the last two games pretty much. I have no reason not to be of the utmost confidence in our quarterback. And I know that preseason that we all had us losing this game, just being in Philadelphia, but I'm all in on that now. I'm all in on us winning this week, not losing. And
yeah,
I feel like we all kind of echo that as well. I mean, it's Dak Prescott against the NFC East. We know he dominates. And contrary to popular media belief, Dak does show up in big games usually. So um, I'm very excited to see how we come out this week. So with all that being said, let's get into our predictions for Killers of the Week. We were hot last week. We predicted a big game for CD. We predicted a big game for Brandon Cooks. Both of those came to fruition, and we said last week that it was going to be a Dak game, and it was. So we're on a little bit of a roll right now. So who wants to go ahead and lead us off for their kill of the week?
yeah. I'll take the rock. This is gonna go against the grain here. Um, no doubt in my mind, CD's gonna have a good game. No doubt in my mind, Brandon Cooks is gonna have a good game. My kill
Are you
of the
gonna say
week.
Gallup?
My kill of the week's Michael Gallup. Uh,
Whoa.
and now he might not put up the yardage. I'm gonna forecast a Michael Gallup touchdown. James Bradbury and Darius Slay most likely will be on CeeDee Lamb, and Brandon Cooks. And so I think Michael Gallup can really capitalize off the lack of experience elsewhere. Bradley Roby's out, and they have a bunch of inexperienced rookies in Keely Ringo and Eli Ricks, both respectively out of SEC top-notch programs. But Michael Gallup's no slouch, and especially in a jump ball situation or a toe tap situation in the end zone, I want to say Michael Gallup scores our second touchdown.
Oddly specific. I love it.
Yeah, I like it. Not to give away my cover zero a little bit, but Spanky, I was thinking this just before we started the podcast. Whoever has the last drive, the ball in their hands, wins the game. And I think it's gonna be us. And y'all remember don't want to bring up this bad memory, but the Giants, Cowboys Stadium after Dak hurt his ankle, Andy Dalton came in. Andy Dalton threw that jump ball in the last drive to Michael Gallup. Jump ball, put us in field goal range. Kicker made the field goal. That's what's going to happen this game. Gallup is going to go up, jump ball, because Dak Prescott trusts him. And
so Dak's getting hurt this game?
No, I'm saying that Dak Prescott in the last drive is going to throw a ball up to Gallup because he trusts him for a jump ball to get in field goal range. Rudy's going to kick a field goal to win the game. My kill of the week is Tony Pollard. He's going to have 125 plus total yards. He's going to have over 60 rushing yards, and he's going to have over 50 receiving yards. And he's going to have a touchdown. And I think it's receiving.
That'd be my fantasy dream.
Wait, so you said Pollard, you just threw a lot at me there. So you said
50 yards. What? 60 yards rushing, 50 yards receiving, touchdown.
60 rush, 50 receiving, and a touchdown.
Mm-hmm.
Okay. I love it. Okay. So for my killer this week, I'm gonna go. I mean, Pollard was gonna be my pick as well. So I'm gonna put him on the spot here. It's a big game. There's a really funny narrative going around that just because Dak shit the bed against the Eagles that he doesn't show up in big games. So I already said it. I'm gonna ride with him till the wheels fall off. That's our guy. I'm riding with number 4. I'm riding with Dak this week. It's gonna have to be a game that, based on what we've seen so far this season, I hope that this isn't the case and that Pollard can have a big game. But worst case, if it can't get going, if this game is going to be won or lost by Dak Prescott, then I'm all in for it. I think he's up to the task. He's up to the challenge. And to try to put some numbers on it, I'll say he goes for at least 250, couple touchdowns, no picks, and he's going to have a rushing touchdown. So 3 total touchdowns, 250 plus passing, and sprinkle a little Dak rushing touchdown. Wouldn't mind seeing whether it's on a design QB run, like a little RPO, or a short yardage option keeper like he did against the Chargers, or whether it's just play breaks down and he lowers his shoulder and gets in for a touchdown. But that's my prediction.
The last thing about our offense is that, not our offense, but about Dak Prescott and our team as a whole, you don't really hear about the Eagles backing Jalen Hurts besides Sirianni. It feels like he's the only one that talks highly of him and backs him up when he's down or up or anything like that. AJ Brown, you remember him earlier in the year, was just on the sideline pissed. Micah Parsons this week came out on his podcast and talked about how Dak Prescott gets the most hate. Everybody talks the most shit about him. This team backs him up. And I think this is a game where the whole team comes together, backs up Dak, and Dak shows why he's a top 7, top 5 quarterback in the NFL. And Jalen Hurts is a fraud.
That'll be sure to ruffle some eagle feathers for sure. Mm-hmm. I mean, we sit here and say it, maybe not on the pod all the time, but I mean, we say it internally, and I mean, we all know it. every Cowboys fan should know this, but I mean, it's no secret that number 4 is the most scrutinized player, definitely in football, probably in sports, to be quite honest. I don't know of anyone that's more scrutinized or more criticized
And
than
did y'all
he
see
is.
what Emmanuel Acho came out and said today?
Oh, this should be good.
No, actually, it was yesterday. Excuse me, one day ago, because it was about Micah Parsons' podcast, and they brought up his podcast talking about how Micah backed him up. Acho said, "I agree with Micah about how he's the most scrutinized quarterback. Said he deserves more credit. He's never had a losing season. He's the only quarterback from the draft class that's still on the team that drafted him." He said, "If it was easy, everybody would do it, but they don't." So
Hmm.
from that Fox group, who is the absolute worst, Joy Taylor sucks. LaShawn McCoy, you all know about LaShawn McCoy, said he's ass, which is absolutely crazy. But for one person from that podcast or TV show to say something about Dak and back him up, which I agree with 100%. He is the most scrutinized quarterback in the NFL. Great word, Bennett. He is going to show why he is a leader, and he is going to pop off this game with him and Pollard.
Boom. Dak game, Pollard game, Michael
Mhm.
Gallup game. Fuck it. Let's
Yep.
ride. So transitioning here, let's talk about the defense. So just to preface things here, we know what Jalen Hurts is capable of, right? I mean, he, as much as we might hate to admit it, he was an MVP caliber player last season. He's a very good quarterback. By all accounts, seems like a good dude, deserving of his money. I mean, he grinded his, it was a cool story of him in college getting benched and then coming back, helping lead Bama to the SEC ship or whatever, going to OU, getting drafted second round.
Had
But
the best
that,
comeback in college football history
and
against Baylor.
unfortunately, we all witnessed it. Yeah. Oh God. Oh, that just opened up such a deep wound. Oh man. Um, but the facts are he has not been the Jalen Hurts of last year up to this point. The Eagles to this point, obviously, we know their offense is good, and we just haven't quite seen it yet. I mean, their wins against some teams that we blew out, the Patriots, the Rams, and who's the other team?
The Chargers? No, it wasn't Chargers.
No, well, they lost to the Jets.
Jets.
Yeah.
Mhm.
So those are 3 teams that we played, 3 teams that we absolutely destroyed. And I don't know. I think there's a lot of reason for optimism, especially with how our defense looks right now and how we kind of talked about it a couple pods back after the Chargers game, and we said, look, you know, this was a good bounce back performance, but they don't look like the same defense that they did earlier in the season. And I feel like, especially after last week's game, I feel like we're kind of seeing our defense shift back to how they were earlier in the season before San Francisco, where we're saying, hey, this is one of the best units in football. We've got all these dogs. And I will start this off by saying, AJ Brown, I know his streak, it's what, 125 plus and a touchdown?
26.
Like,
I think it's just 125.
okay. And it's how many weeks? Like 12 or 13?
6 straight weeks for 125 plus yards.
Okay, I was way
Like,
off on the weeks. I thought it was like
because
12
he
weeks for
started
some reason.
terrible like the first 2 weeks. That's when he threw down his helmet and was pissed on the sideline.
Right.
And the
Yeah,
week
because
after
he's a
that,
diva. Yeah.
yep.
Okay. Okay. So I do want to start off this whole roundtable here by saying, um, I'm very, very excited to see our superstar corner against their all-world receiver, and it's going to be a really physical matchup between Deron Bland and AJ Brown. And I'm curious to hear y'all's thoughts on that matchup, and I guess just specifically, kind of how we stack up our offense and our defense and their offense. Sorry.
This is a different Philly offense. I would argue this is less RPO heavy run scheme and it's more pass. Even Jalen Hurts, there's some mysterious knee issue going on with him, so even he is less mobile. And so this AJ Brown, Deron Bland, AJ Brown, Stephon Gilmore matchup, because we've never sent our corners to follow a wide receiver. So it's probably going to be 50-50, and they're probably going to put AJ Brown on the better side, depending on how our corners play him. So
who do you think is the better side? Do you think it's Bland right now, or do you think it's Gilmore?
I think
Gilmore.
I think they learned their lesson on Bland and try to test an older Stephon Gilmore more than
Agreed.
Bland.
Mm-hmm.
But this is a pass heavier Eagles team, and as much as I want to say like DeAndre Swift is amazing and all that, he's not really what they've had as running backs in the past, where he can handle, I don't know, 15 carries a game. Like, him and Kenneth Gainwell aren't gonna punch us in the mouth in the run game. We gotta limit the large plays. We have to limit the splash plays. But if we keep this team in front of us, we will be fine. They have had a lot of close games, like the Jets, in which they've lost, like the Rams, like a bunch of teams. And if we get out in front of these guys early, like we've done to some teams this year, and our pass rush starts learning that, okay, they're going to have to pass the ball a lot more than they're going to have to run the ball, we're going to be off to a hot start. But chances of that happening are pretty slim. This is going to be a very competitive game. I really like our matchup, and I know Jalen Hurts as an MVP candidate. I don't want to poke the bear either, but I'm not too high on Jalen Hurts and his ability as a franchise quarterback, and I'll just leave it at that. So honestly, if this game does come down to Jalen Hurts needing to go down the field and score a touchdown, I would like us in that spot. I like our guys in that spot, as Jerry Jones would say. I trust Deron Bland. I trust Malik Hooker. I trust Stephon Gilmore. More importantly, I trust Micah Parsons. And I don't want to foreshadow my hot boy of the week, but number 11 needs to have a great game in wrecking havoc, because if you think we're lining him up on Lane Johnson all game, you're sadly mistaken if they are playing a backup right guard. So that's just definitely something to watch.
Agree 100% with you, Spanky, with the fact about Micah. I think our matchups with them are not good, in my opinion. The only good matchup we have is Micah against that singing loser Jordan Mailata, whatever his name is. He just stick to singing. I think this is a game where they find the right matchups. And I know I talked about Jalen Hurts and his shit just a minute ago, which I agree with. But I do think this is where if we don't get pressure on him, we lose the game, which is obvious. I guess an obvious statement. But I don't think the running game can do anything against us. I think this will be a AJ Brown game where he has a crazy game. Devontae Smith catches a deep ball because of his speed, because I think we're terrible against the speed. We talked about it last week a little bit. And then a Dallas Goedert game. So this is going to be a huge game for Curse, in my opinion, like a make or break game for his season. Because if Goddard catches 8 for 70 plus, we lose the game. I think we can afford for AJ Brown to have a 100+ yard game, but if Goddard on top of that has an 8 catch 70+ yard game, we lose. Jalen Hurts' knee is not good. You can clearly see that. He's not going to run the ball. You're right, Spanky. The tush push is still going to work every time. So you have to force him to be in 4th and 2 and longer, because every time they get 9 yards, it's an automatic first down every single time. Because their O-line is that good, and they're that good at tush push. In my opinion, I don't think we can stop them. So that's why I think that our offense is going to come out blazing. We're going to have some crazy plays, some great plays, to where we're going to force them to also have some good plays. We're going to force them to throw the ball down the field and see if Jalen Hurts can stay in the pocket. I don't think he can run very well. Stay in the pocket and see if he can throw those 20 or 15+ yard throws to A.J. Brown, Devontae Smith, Dallas Goedert. Because I don't think they're going to be able to dink and dunk, but I do think they're going to be able to drive down the field and score touchdowns. I'm very hesitant about our defense this week, unlike you, clearly, Spanky, in my opinion. And I think this is a very high-scoring game.
I love it. So, on the flip side, so what worries me with the Eagles actually, and it's kind of actually like the inverse of what you said. I actually take the other side. I'm actually more worried about their running game than I am their passing game. And the reason why I say that is because the Eagles, in order for them to beat us, especially with, and that was a great point. I forgot that Hurts' knee was even banged up. And he walked out of that press conference this week when he got asked about his knee. He kind of laughed it off and walked out. So something's going on with him and with that knee. Don't know exactly what it is, but with the Eagles, the key to stopping them is going to be forcing Jalen Hurts to beat us through the air. And I do agree with what you said in that we're going to have to limit guys like Goddard because at the end of the day, A.J. Brown, while Deron Bland could probably play the game of his life, he's still going to get at least probably 80, 90 plus, probably have a touchdown. Like, it's just inevitable. He is that good. And so we can't really build a scheme around, hey, let's completely shut down A.J. Brown and make other guys beat us. Like, it's going to have to be, let's limit A.J. Brown, but the key to this game for me is going to be stopping the run. It's going to be our defensive line against their offensive line. I think their O-line is overall as a unit probably the best in the NFL. I mean, they're obviously very good at what they do with the tush push. And I mean, last week they even ran a fake tush push, which is nuts. So that's interesting.
Yeah, that was crazy.
Yeah, and I mean, it worked. They scored a touchdown off it. I mean, it was a crazy play, but limiting DeAndre Swift, I'm not worried about like Kenneth Gainwell and Boston Scott or whoever else you want to throw at us, but DeAndre Swift, the key to us winning this game is going to be limiting him, because if they can't get the run game going, I don't know that Jalen Hurts is capable of beating a Dan Quinn defense when we can fully play into his hands and just let our pass rushers just eat at a somewhat immobilized Jalen Hurts and let the dogs in our secondary make plays. So to me, it's going to be a game that we're going to have to see Jonathan Hankins play big. We're going to have to see DeMarcus Lawrence do his thing, setting the edge, stopping the run. We're going to have to see Micah Parsons, hopefully, be in the backfield, blowing up runs, blowing up RPOs, because we saw what the Eagles did last year in that they ran at Micah a lot. And that was kind of the first blueprint that an NFL team put out there in terms of trying to not necessarily stop Micah Parsons, but at least neutralize him. And I wouldn't be surprised if we see a lot more of that. So we're going to have to limit DeAndre Swift. We're going to have to limit their run game and make Jalen Hurts on 1.5 legs or one leg or, whatever. We're going to have to make him beat us through the air, because if we can do that, just as we saw with the Rams last week and against the Chargers with Justin Herbert, when we can effectively neutralize and stop a team's run game, make a quarterback try to beat us through the air, that's when guys make mistakes. That's why, Justin Herbert had, how many picks did he throw in that one? Was it just 1, 2? Stafford last week, sorry, Stu had 2 or 3 picks last week. So it's just, it's like I said with the other side of the ball. It's all going to start up front. This game is going to be won or lost on both sides in the trenches. So that's just my 2 cents. But
another thing I want to say before we move on is this is a big game for our D tackles, in my opinion. They're going to have to step up because you all know what the tush push, basically unbeatable. You can't stop them. So I think our D tackles, we know, besides Mozzie, they are undersized. They're fast, but they are smaller. They're not those big. They're not Fletcher Cox, like they're not going to be able to stop them from getting a push. Like, they're going to have to find ways to beat the tush push or cause havoc in the game. And I think this could be a game where we see Mozzie a lot when we force those second and longs. We get a stop, we sack Jalen, or we stop the run game for second and 12, or Mozzie comes in the game and he wreaks havoc against Kelsey because Mozzie is athletic. He is. We haven't seen him very much this season cause havoc, but I do think that our D tackles can do very well against their guards and center. Um, so I hope that's what happens because if they can't get any push, they're going to run the ball down our throat. They are going to be huge in this game, which I agree with you, Bennett, a lot.
Yeah, yeah, agreed. So, with all that being said, I want to get into our hot boys of the week on the defensive side of the ball. So, Spanky, I know you're tired. We're getting through this, but what do you got for your hot boy? I know you got some juice here.
Yeah. Viewership, I apologize. I've had some long nights this week with work, but my hot boy is number 11. He steps up in big games when we need him most, like the Chargers. He sacked Matthew Stafford to completely swing momentum in our favor. We're not going to use him traditionally as a defensive end this game. We're not going to line him up over Lane Johnson. Dan Quinn's too creative and bold to do that. But I can't wait to see kind of the stunt where we line up Micah Parsons maybe over Jason Kelsey and have the rest of our D line just spread out and wide. So we just isolate one person, either if that's Jason Kelsey or the right guard. But Jalen Hurts not mobile anymore right now. Even in some games, you see him going down prematurely to contact. And so we know how fast Micah could get after a quarterback. So Jalen Hurts doesn't want to run away from Micah. That's for sure.
I mean, yeah, obviously Micah can just wreak havoc. What I said earlier about D tackles, I agree with. But what I said also earlier about Goddard, if he has a big game where he gets those 3rd and 5, 3rd and 6, 3rd and 7 catches for first downs, game's over, in my opinion. This is a big J-Ron Curse game. If Curse does not play to what he did last year, Goddard could destroy him. But on the other side, I think Curse shuts down Goddard. I think Goddard, if you hold Goddard to less than 3 catches, huge win. So I'm not gonna say Curse has a big game statistically, but I think he guards Goddard very well and he shuts him down. And that's my hot boy of the week is going to be J-Ron Curse.
I love it. I love it. So originally, I was kind of leaning Mozzie Smith, especially after those points that you made. I think this could be a week that we really see him get involved defensively a little bit more. Just considering how good the Eagles are, in terms of running the football. But I just don't know if he'll have the volume to make him be my hot boy of the week. I would love to pick him and say that he'll get a couple TFLs, but um, I don't know for certain, especially, being a rookie defensive tackle against that veteran offensive line. It just doesn't exactly, to me, play in the cards for him. But again, I do think that there's a really good opportunity for him to have a big game. But with that being said, my hot boy this week, for the second week in a row, it's going to be Deron Bland. And I talked about this. I don't remember if I sent it in our group chat or if it was just me and Spanky just, talking throughout the week. But I'm very, very excited to see the Deron Bland and AJ Brown matchup. Just because Deron Bland, we talked about it at length in our Rams reaction pod, but he just plays with a different level of physicality than what we're used to seeing from cornerbacks. I mean, we're used to seeing skinny guys, somewhat ball hawks, guys that aren't like great tacklers, whether that's you want to say Diggs or you want to go back and say like Mike Jenkins or like old man Terrence Newman, like just skinny corners who aren't very physical. And Bland is like the opposite of that. Bland is like your Seattle Seahawks big physical corner, like almost I mean, obviously he's not as good as Richard Sherman because Richard Sherman's, probably a future Hall of Famer, but he kind of just fits that physical corner mold that I know Dan Quinn loves, and we've really seen Dan Quinn just break out, um, really let Deron Bland loose and let him do his own thing, and I mean, he's been incredible. So,
Mhm.
especially after last week, I'm really looking forward to what he does this week against AJ Brown, and I'm sure he's going to get some reps on Devontae Smith as well. I'm not really worried about that matchup. Um, I I just think that this is going to be a game that Deron Bland, if he does it on the national stage, then what we've been banging the drum for, saying that he's a top 10, maybe possibly the best cornerback in the NFL right now, that train is going to gain a lot of steam and it's going to leave the station by this time on Sunday. So
I,
very,
I love
very,
it.
very excited for that matchup.
Quick question. I think I know your answer to it. Y'all's answer to it, but I have a question about AJ Brown. Would y'all be happy with a 6-catch, 80-yard, 1 touchdown game from AJ Brown? Would y'all
Yes.
be okay with that?
Yes. In a
Yes,
heartbeat.
just
Yes.
thought so.
because I think the Eagles are going to force feed him to the point where getting anything under 70 yards is pretty unrealistic.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
What
I
about
agree.
what about like 7 for 100 in a touchdown? Would y'all be okay with that?
You lose me
Uh,
you lose me anything over 80. I'm not going to cap
Okay.
to you.
Okay. I would agree. If he has 7 for 90 in a touchdown,
You
maybe.
weren't
But
here, Clayton. But the Cowboys have yet to allow a 100-yard rusher, a 100-yard receiver this year. So I'm gonna stick to that.
love that.
And I don't know
Okay.
if it's my
Love
cover
that.
zero take, but that streak continues for the Dallas Cowboys, and an old streak
Love that.
ends.
I do love that
Love that.
actually. We'll probably have you say that again once we get to our cover zero. But so just to recap, our killers and our hot boys, Spanky had Michael Gallup and Micah. Stu had Tony Pollard and Jaron Curse. I had Dak and Deron Bland. So those are our guys to watch on both sides of the ball this week. But with that in the rear view, let's go ahead and get our score predictions down. So as I mentioned earlier, we all had us losing this week initially. I think we're all probably going to revise that this week. But yeah, let's go score predictions. Who wants first crack?
I would like to go last because it's going to lead into my cover zero.
Okay.
Cowboys 37, Eagles 24.
Wow. Okay. Love it. Highest scoring blowout. Okay. I'm gonna go Cowboys 34-28. Stu, what do you
So
got?
we're all expecting a little bit of a high scoring game. I'm going to go also 34. What I said earlier about Gallup catching that deep ball, sideline type catch, puts in field goal range. Aubrey makes it 34-31.
Okay.
And
Love
so
it.
that's my other cover zero is that this game comes down to the last drive and Aubrey makes the game winning field goal. And then I have a couple other cover zeros if you don't mind me to go into this one.
Rip them.
Um,
Rip them off.
Brr.
the Cowboys successfully have at least one tush push for a first down, maybe even a touchdown. We stop the Eagles on a tush push. And then my biggest one is that after this game, Dak Prescott will be a top 3 leading candidate for MVP on odds wise.
Wow. That's a hot take, but I love it.
That is hot. Berkey, I know you're a slow typer, but you told me to repeat this. Dallas is where streaks come to die, and I know we're in Philly, but we're still bringing that Dallas energy. AJ Brown's streak dies, and the Cowboys' streak of not allowing a 100-yard receiver or rusher survives. Also,
Cowboys don't.
we win handedly.
Right. Don't allow 100-yard rusher or receiver. God, I love these. These are spicy. I love it. Okay.
Yeah. These could never see the light of day again either. Who knows?
Yeah, it's either
We will bury this.
Yeah,
I will bury this in the woods if this goes wrong.
Yeah. Some coaches like to say, like, they don't burn the tape. We have no problems burning the tape. We will private this video. Like if we're down 14 in the fourth quarter, like we're deactivating social media for a week. So
I'm going into YouTube and I'm deleting everything.
Yeah, like you won't be able to find our channel. Like all the good moments, like see ya. So
probably won't even be able to find my personal accounts, honestly, if we were to lose.
You might not even find us, to be honest with you. Like
we're gonna be in an island in the Pacific, just living life.
Just us and Tupac just bowling on an island somewhere. Okay, so my cover zero take. Yeah, cover zero take is we're gonna intercept Jalen Hurts twice this week. Deron Bland's gonna have one. Jaron Curse is gonna have the other one. And although it's 34-28, it's not gonna be that close. It's gonna be like Eagles get a touchdown when we're up,
like 10
when we're up
left.
handily. Yeah, and
try to get an onside.
Try to get an onside. Dallas does the Landry shift to end the game, and we walk out of Philly probably getting batteries thrown at us, but we walk out with the win.
Would y'all ever go to a Dallas Phillies game in Philadelphia?
Yes.
No. I figured Spanky would say yes. I would never.
Yes. Bro,
maybe. It depends.
Come on. Dude, if us four
if I was sitting in a box, maybe.
No, bro. You have to get my goal is to see every stadium once, man. Like I can't live life being like, you're feeding into the stereotype if you don't want to go. Come on.
I mean, just
it's an NFL stadium. You're not seeking a new world for the first time. Like there's
you are though. You're gonna see beer. You're gonna have beer thrown on you, beer cans. Okay. You're gonna get shit talked to you.
I would like to see them try. I have an arm too where I would throw back. Like
let me ask you this,
and then you're gonna get the fuck beat out of you.
Would you? Somebody's gonna be paying me fat if that happens.
Okay, Spanky, let me ask you this: if you were a father, would you bring your family to a Cowboys Eagles game in Philly?
How old are my kids?
It doesn't. I don't think that matters.
They're not
18 or under.
If they are 18, I'm fine bringing them. If they are 3 and I have to bring them in a stroller,
they're middle school or under.
No.
Okay, so if they're in high school,
15 or under.
15, yeah.
Would you bring your wife?
Yeah, because knowing my wife, she'd be able to talk shit back. So she'd hold her own.
She would. Yeah. Okay. Well, I don't know.
I'm sticking with it, boys. If you're so afraid, like you guys can't be afraid to go to an NFL stadium of one of our rivals.
It's not fear. I mean, I feel pretty comfortable that I could go to a game and like not get into a physical altercation.
Yeah, me too, Berg.
But like at the same time, would I want to be like accosted and like called names and possibly have shit thrown at me the whole time? Probably not.
What if we win? What if we win?
No, that's definitely not.
Yeah, well, if you win, then you can't gloat, or you're walking out of there with a couple missing teeth and a couple black eyes.
Yeah.
And like maybe a dead kid.
Y'all got me. You don't think I don't want to walk in there?
Philly's a war zone. Like, dude, right. Philadelphia's a shithole. I'm sorry.
It is.
Philadelphia sucks.
To hear that you guys wouldn't want to go there, it's pretty sorry, but.
Okay, well,
it's fine. I'm not. I would never. In a million years, I wouldn't.
I think us three and Brady could hold our own in Philadelphia Stadium and have it be one of the better memories of our lives. So.
Either that, or we would all wake up in fucking jail.
Yeah, so. The same could be said about Vegas and Cabo. So I mean, you could
but that's totally different.
That's
a vacation.
Cabo, this is step off the resort. Yeah. You're dead.
Like, yeah, but this is going to a a war zone of the most heated rivalry in the NFL, where everyone
Yeah.
that's not wearing silver, white, and blue hates you and wants you to die in a fire.
Yeah, because the people who are working off the resort in like Cabo love like privileged Americans
No.
like walking around, right? Like, come on, like it's Philadelphia.
That's just not
sure.
comparable.
I think yes, it is. It is.
How is
You-
going on spring break to Cabo comparable to going to a Cowboys and Eagles football game in Philadelphia?
Because if you've ever been to Squid Row, that's pretty comparable to what the city of Philadelphia is.
I didn't once fear for my life when we were in Squid Row. Not that I would fear for my life at a Cowboys Eagles game, but
Correct.
I would never fear for my life. I would fear either one, getting my face punched in after we win, or me talking so much shit that I'm ended up in a jail cell, or the other one is that shit just getting thrown at me the whole fucking game. I can't enjoy watching a football game.
Especially you, Spanky. Like, I mean,
yeah, you would start saying
we're both pretty bad, but dude, like you don't know when to turn it off sometimes, and that's what would get you in trouble. Like, dude, you're fucking your 15-year-old kid would witness his dad get killed. Like, that's pretty traumatic.
Too bad. I guess my son will learn his dad's immortal in Philadelphia. Because I mean, if you think my story ends in the fucking shitty city of Philadelphia, in what is it? Lincoln Financial? What is it?
Yeah, Lincoln
Financial. Fuck that place. I will walk in and walk out. Not a scratch, not a drip, not nothing. Like, you guys are giving it way too much. Like, I would be more scared of walking into an old-fashioned Oakland Raiders stadium than going to a Philadelphia Eagles game. So that's just me, but I think you guys are giving them a little too much credit and watching a little too much of the like Eagles Commanders one fight that happened in the stadium clip. So
I mean, to be fair, there's fights at every sporting event now.
Exactly.
Like, it's ridiculous.
Exactly.
Like, there were fights between Cowboys fans and Chargers fans at the Monday
We're
night
not going to be.
It's like,
what was the fight that happened with the Texans and somebody else? Like, the Texans people were getting in fights against. I saw that clip. That was fucking crazy. Like, there's fights all around, and I agree with that. It's just the fact that people were going to throw shit at you all the time, will talk down to you, will yell at you, call you names, and then all of a sudden, after we win, we would die. Like, I would get out of there before we even won the game, because people would just talk so much shit to you.
I would gloat my ass off.
I know you would.
I know. That's what would get you
in front of the nearest police officer. I would be running.
Okay. That's a big contingency.
There you go. There you go.
You think smart, boys. We went to Baylor. Like, come on.
It's true.
Like, we're not going to be the one.
That's a good contingency.
The four Dallas Cowboy fans against 66,000. You think we're gonna 300 this? No, you gotta work smart.
All right.
Very fair. Very fair. Okay. Well,
we're gonna plan a boys trip to Philly. Fuck it. Let's do it.
Okay. Well, I guess that's in the works now. And I know that we've mentioned on Tuesday we were supposed to have our guest on. We again had some scheduling issues. Shooting for next week. We'll see what comes with that. He's a pretty busy guy. Once he's on the pod with us, you'll understand. He's a pretty busy guy, and we're
also
trying to be flexible.
Fan.
Okay, that probably just gave it away, but yeah.
Did y'all not say it?
No.
Wow.
Well,
there's a sneak peek.
Well, maybe you can work on your editing skills and learn how to bleep that out. But yeah,
Ooh, I like that.
Right? Yeah, little incentive. So, I guess with all that being said, y'all have anything else to add?
Mm-mm.
Okay. All right. Well, as always, thank you guys so much for joining us today. As always. And please follow us on our socials, our X and TikTok at DallasBC Pod. Hit us up on Instagram at DallasBC Podcast. go ahead and shoot us an email for inquiries or sponsorships at podcastdbc@gmail.com. And we're available on YouTube, Spotify, and Apple Podcasts. So go listen at wherever it's most convenient for you. And we will see you guys next week on Victory Monday.
Fuck Philly. Boom!
Boom.